So the dust settling here at the Emirates Stadium after Arsenal have pretty much landed 4 brutal blows on Newcastle United's campaign. It was always going to be tough coming here, but I think the manner of the performance was worrying, especially the first half. I think defensively, Newcastle looked like they were chasing shadows really early on. Obviously, Loris Karius coming in the team today wasn't afforded much protection, you know, given he's been drafted in for an illness to Dubravka. And at 2-0 down, you know, at half time, I thought Newcastle were really lucky to be only the couple of goals down, if I'm being totally honest, because Arsenal had many more chances and many more opportunities that they didn't take. Second half started a little bit better, has to be said. Newcastle looked a bit more assertive, created a couple of half chances. They actually didn't have a shot in the first half, so it wasn't going to take much to improve that. But then Arsenal really started to turn on the style, zipping passes around, going 3-0 up with Saka's goal, going through a crowd of players, and Newcastle really had no one to blame but themselves to be 3-0 down. 4-0, corner swung in from Declan Rice, and Jacob Murphy doesn't stay with his man, and you know, deflecting off Lewis Miley, who I think was doing his best to try and at least do something, as he did throughout the game really. He's one of the few to emerge with a little bit of credit, in my opinion. But yeah, 4-0, you wondered, you know, where this game was going. You know, could it end up being a complete annihilation? Thankfully it wasn't. Newcastle pulled one back. Eddie made a host of substitutions, which was damage limitation from where I was standing. Dan Burn putting a cross in and Willock heading home to, you know, reduce arrears and make it 4-1. A little bit of respectability on the scoreline, but Arsenal then, you know, could have added a couple more, if we're being totally honest. So poor night all round. Reality check, and Newcastle's season now hits a critical point. FA Cup at Blackburn, they've got to win that one, otherwise the season's going to be, you know, close to almost a write-off unless they can put something together in those last 10, 11, 12 games. If we're being honest, injury is no longer a real excuse, because the team that Eddie Howe picked tonight was capable of getting something. Joe Linton is a big miss, Nick Pope's a big miss, but other than that, Newcastle are pretty much a clean bill of health. Tonight they just weren't at it, and the body language was worrying, the defending was worrying, and you know, has what happened last season just ultimately caught up with Newcastle United. It feels that way. There's a long way to go in the season in some ways. There's a lot of points to play for, but yeah, disappointing all round. You know, doesn't cut it. Newcastle fans stranded here in London tonight. I think they deserved a much better performance than they saw. But Newcastle will have to dust themselves down and move on. They've got to go to Blackburn, and they've got to get something in the FA Cup next week.